end. So similar emphasis from Renegades on banning that Lyra first as what we saw from Impunity. And now Blackfeather could be prioritised, but I haven't seen a lot of Crawl being played at all, despite how strong he seems to be. Why do you think these teams aren't prioritising him as heavily?
Well, I think previously where we saw in the match between Impunity and Elite 8, the no Cruel pickup was due to a lot of teams thinking, well, especially that Impunity thinking, with going for the Samuel pickup in the jungle instead, just putting that alongside very bursty laners that they were able to just poke down the enemy with.
Yes, so we're going to have to wonder to see if that is what we're going to see in this game. Very similar start to what happened before. If Lance is picked up by Nebulae, this will be almost identical draft. But I think the Blackfeather ban just makes the most sense. If you have nothing to go up against it, to counter it, just pick up yourself. Catherine this time is the highest priority, so that is a preemptive Kestrel counter if they decide to let Kestrel through. But I think that the problem for Nebulae now is they have to worry about letting Arden, Kestrel, Rhyme through. Such a good combo. Unless they have their Vox Samuel to try and counter it, it will be tough. But once we're seeing attacker ban, which does suggest they want to pick up a weapon carry in their next pick.
Yes, and this is what I'm a bit worried about as well for the side of Nebulae. By picking that Catherine instinctively, it means you are kind of showing you want to be the aggressors, and you're kind of showing that you want your team comp to flow off that team comp that's either balanced with a good backliner with Poke, and then another frontliner to go alongside that of Catherine. The only problem there is if the side of Renegades are able to pick up anything that can just go right through that of the front line and jump onto the carry, it will be quite hard to protect them.
Yeah, so Catherine pick does force, in quote marks, a Batiste ban, because even though it's not the best combination this patch, those two heroes aren't that strong. It's still so annoying to play against. If you don't have Blackfeather against it, Batiste is so annoying, and along with Catherine, they just don't want to play against it. So there's nothing else that they feel they need to ban Renegades. So ban the Batiste now. I don't think that was expected, but they're going to pick the Vox. So sticking with their backline carry of Vox this time, I still think that Kestrel Rhyme is a great combination for Renegades to pick up. I think they can work it really well with the Arden. Rhyme can get on top of Vox. Catherine has nothing to keep Vox alive, only has stuns to try and protect Vox. So I think really would be quite a simple draft from Renegades.
Yeah, and I guess that's another way of looking at it. Rather than actually get yourself onto that Vox, they can just poke him down with, well, considering that Rhyme will want to try and get close enough to land the chill wins at times, but you're only going to be able to stun out one person there with the Catherine, who would have to either decide, do I stop the Kestrel who's putting these glimmer shots in, or do I stop the Rhyme that has been picked up that we now see? So it could be the case that they might just finish off that comp with that of a Kestrel. Could even be the Saw, if I dare say so myself. But
it's great against Vox. That is very true. Saw would be a nice last pick. Works with Arden, you get a nice speed boost to push Saw towards whoever he wants to focus, as long as it's not Catherine. Gauntlet traps them inside so that they have to either block and run away, or they're trapped in a cage with Saw. A fighting cage, you might say. Maybe next patch when Arden gets that spin, and it will be. Nice prediction from Michael Question Jewel. What do you think this last pick should be to counter that?
It's tough to say. I like to think that CC generally counts if you're able to chain enough of it together.
Push everything in, but the Blackfeather stole that Kraken, able to turn that game around. So, you know, Saw really relies on this first Kraken. If not, then, like you mentioned, gain a massive lead, and from then, you just don't quite need the Kraken anymore. If you can get the 8k, 7k gold lead very early in the game, then Kraken will be quite pointless anyways. But RNG will still go on with their usual rotations, picking up that early Elder Treant. And as Minimizer actually pointed out last week as well, that with that initial, if you pick up the Elder Treant, the moment it spawns, you get to have 4 of it, which will be very valuable as long as you need just constantly just rotate down and just constantly secure it, just giving them the extra gold lead, extra cash in their pocket just to complete their items much quicker.
I think the most important thing in that is, as a jungler main myself, I seem to notice the extra level advantage you seem to have by the time shops are up and you make that rotation up to the lane. If you've been able to clear out the mid outer treant all those times for yourself, you are going to have an extra level on top of that, the enemy jungler, and usually around that stage you get your ult then, and you're able to turn around early team fights. So that could be big with the Valkyrie on Chingy.
Yeah, very good minion Kenny popped on Uni there. Once again, Nebulae not diverting from their team comp, from their strategies at all, just to stop Uni from pushing, and we are seeing much better aggression coming through from Iron Gyudai, but Chingy may be able to secure this, but Iron Gyudai with those Melisas and Verdict.
Yep, and they're still going to fight it out. There's going to be the root coming up from Chingy, but look at this. Doesn't really have the fortified health he needs, or does he? I could be wrong, as Iron Gyudai forced to use that potion, and Chingy now using his boots to catch up to him, and should be able to take the kill. The first blood going over to the side of RNG, so the repeat of last, but now it's going to be Truffless getting caught out in the jungle, and Truffy's trying to go past Uni. I don't think Uni saw him. Nope, Uni going in with a roadie run, did see Truffy's, indeed is going to catch him out in the jungle, puts down the suppressing fire. Now if Truffy isn't able to get away, he will fall in that enemy jungle for basically no reason, going in there, just giving up his life. He's still staying to stay. He's staying to steal, actually, and he's going to pay the price for it. There's the roadie run, and the minions take him down, and there's going to be all the farm still in the hands of Renegades. So sitting at 7.6k up to 6.2 at 3 minutes in, to have a 1k gold lead is pretty massive, because they just got those kills back to back. And Chingy, did you run in and steal that? You did. Oh my god, Renegades not giving up a thing to the side of Nebulae.
Okay, I'm kind of lost right now, so maybe you can help me with this, but Truffy's actually picked up an early crystal bit. I'm not sure as to what for. Maybe for that extra damage with those resonant bouncers, but I don't think it's effective at all.
Truffy's so very low, and you see why. This is why I would consider the crystal bit pickup on Truffy's, as they get burst out by the suppressing fire so low once again. Another order will be enough to kill them, and they have to give up this initial turret to the Rhyme and Soar as they push in. SNK, however, low in the backline. They could turn this fire around, at least for a trade-out kill on the side of Nebulae, but you see Iron Gyudai baiting back Chingy into his own jungle, just kiting him at this point. And I think that is very much so, as you mentioned, for those resonance bounces in Truffy's head. They might have thought, well, we don't... It looks like Iron Gyudai, no, didn't steal that. Chingy did get it, but it's not going to be enough health to keep him alive, and Uni going to be able to get the trade kills, actually getting 2 for 1, so working out, even though Chingy was going down. No, Truffler's going to be left alone and able to escape. So a bit of a misplay there coming out from the side of Renegades, but going back to that crystal bit, that was picked up. I do think it is to get that little bit extra damage on the resonance bounces, because you know those can hit Uni without you actually needing to be in range of Uni for auto attacking.
Or maybe it is just a misbuy and not much strategy actually went into it. But Iron Gyudai will be missing the entirety of RNG. Maybe it's time for you to back off. Don't even try to secure what you cannot. And Iron Gyudai in a not as favorable position as the side of RNG, but they will move up into the lane, try to clear this candid wave once again from the side of Nebulae.
Uni going to be putting down the suppressing fire, and it's up to SNK to body block those incoming Malice and Verdict shots from Iron Gyudai, and look at that. Uni gets within range to get those auto attacks down. He just starts ripping through the enemy team, but Chingy is going to have the speed with those boots to get up in the front line and actually lock down some enemies. And he's already picked up those travel boots, as your mini mitre recommended to me on Rhyme. It's very important, and I think much more important in this Soar comp, that with Soar being so stationary, you need to be that frontline threat with the Rhyme pick up. So having those tier 2 boots so early on just allows you to get in the enemy's face and put down this pressure, because we see the Oblivion coming out from Sab Nebulae. They're looking for something, but Chingy already up in the face, going to be able to take down the Samuel and looking for trophies on this Vox. Vox doesn't have the Sonic Zoom just yet. It's available now, but he's still too close to Chingy, and Chingy will be able to take the kill if it's not shanked away from him. Uni going in with a roadie run, and they're 7-1. Kills ahead of minutes at this point, and Nebulae, or the last remaining member of Nebulae who survived from that fight, is Truffless, trying to escape, but SNK will be able to cancel the recall at this point. They could even get trapped, but Uni running away from Iron You Die. The team of Renegades is split. This could be a chance for Nebulae to take something out of it, as we see Iron You Die going in with the Drifting Dark and Power, Malice, and Verdicts, but SNK once again doing the job as a support should, especially of Vavsaw, making sure none of those shots get through and hit him. Just the best bodyguard you could ask for.
Very good bodyguard. I mean, we haven't quite seen it before. And half the time, whenever we praise body blocking coming out from teams, another fight maybe happen.
Oh, there's going to be the gauntlet, so hold your tongue as the Valkyrie goes down and shuts down that box, and there's going to be the kill follow up onto the Catherine. I don't think they can catch out Iron You Die, as he will be able to just kite back, and there's no echo on that gauntlet just yet, so it's up to him to just make sure that one minion doesn't touch the turret. Otherwise Saw can push in and win everything. But no, in all seriousness, there's going to be the Oblivion going through onto the backline. Doesn't hit anyone, but it does force Renegades to use that fountain, as a fight will break out, and Nebulae could have this one. Renegades have overstepped their boundaries, and are they going to get punished for it? There's the AoE damage coming through, the massive damage at that of the whoa, my Iron You Die went so low to that rhyme. He does manage to get the damage off though, and the Drifting Dark and Power, Malice, and Verdicts were enough, but now Uni still standing is their problem, and SNK until his last dying breath is trying to body block these, and is opening up the window for Uni to pick up the double kill, possibly the triple. He's running with a roadie run. He needs to buy the boots, but he didn't, and Truffles might be able to get away from this one. No suppressing fire up just yet. You do not want to go near Truffles when they are near that MVP. The Crystal Sentry will end your life, but that double kill turnaround, they were able to turn a fight that should have been in Nebulae's favor into an even trade out.
I'm not even sure how Uni actually sustained through all of that, and I must say it is just because of the hesitation coming through from Truffles and Iron You Die, and thus Uni and okay, fine, maybe it's not entirely Uni, but let's just say it's just SNK putting a very good job with those vanguards, those blood for blood, and just able to just keep this Saw alive for such a long time, and Chingy is on the chase.
Yep, and speaking of vanguards, he does vanguard the rhyme to chase onto Truffles. There's going to be the Valkyrie, but it gets blocked out, so no stun, but still a lot of damage, forcing Vox to back, and there's going to be the gauntlet going in for the kill onto the Samuel, the lockdown onto Catherine. They get the double kill, and wow, RNG Renegades just playing like this match, and I think after Impunity's match, they were like, you know, if Impunities are going to put up a show, we'll put up a show as well, because as you mentioned, Renegades and Impunity kind of have that grudge there between each other, both being the top teams at the moment. However, Nebulae, let's see if they can turn things around, even though they are quite behind as is, especially with the Crystal Sentry falling. Truffy's getting jumped on, Chill wins, misses, he is able to kite back, but falls to the Frost, and now it's up to Iron You Die to do something here. Oblivion does land, but doesn't stun anyone out, so just missing actually, and Chingy trying to chase him down, will catch him out between Uni, and they manage to finally pick up the kill. And I think you really have to give it to SNK here, just his positioning and helping his team position on this Arden. He's doing an amazing job.
Yes, and that is why we have been talking about this particular comp where you have an Arden and a Saw. Arden just basically just fills up wherever Saw is weak at. And we all know the more spun up Saw is, the slower he is. But Arden negates all of that with the Vanguard, and Saw is basically a sitting duck half the time. A lot of people just call Saw the walking turret, and the only reason is because he's just so very slow. But then Arden just offsets all of that with that Vanguard, a speed boost, and the Gauntlet just trap the enemies in. Saw don't have to move far to fight. Saw can just stand outside the Gauntlet and away from Harm's hands and just shoot from the outside. And that is basically just Uni and of course SNK synergizing so well and working so very well as well, especially with the Rhyme. Rhyme slows everyone and Saw just shoots.
Well, it really is a comp that shouldn't be allowed on the same team, but Rhyme and Saw for Massa to be on the same team is just so hard to play against. And I do say that Nebulae went into a decent draft by picking up the Samuel box, thinking about just outpoking the enemy, but with how aggressive Renegades have been playing and just playing that comp well, because this comp could have easily been played, but just less aggressive and not had that early game pressure and fallen through on them and simply gone to Nebulae in the late game as they have such good scaling. But Renegades doing such a good job all in all. There's going to be the wait for it, but I don't think it's going to be enough to stop the engage coming out from Renegades. Uni spun up, running in there, picks up a kill onto Catherine, and there's going to be the Oblivion blocked out. So now Nebulae with no Roma to help them through here. Are Renegades seriously going to do this? They are looking for the first turret, but they need to be careful because with Arden tanking up the shots on the turret does mean that Uni is open and prone to damage, so they are going to change their minds about that and back out of the fight for now. There's the Crystal Sentry to worry about, but they should burn that down within seconds. And wow, the Winter Spy is keeping Iron Guy at bay. There's going to be the re-engagement from Renegades. The missile pursuit onto SNK stuns him up. Maybe not the right target to stun up. You should be focusing onto Uni, but right now Uni forced to run away with barely any life left. Chingy might get Winter Spy off to get another kill, but no, there will be the fall of Arden and soon to follow the Rhyme. Saw was able to get out in time to stop the ace, so Nebulae finally get a fight in their favor, but they are sitting 10k gold behind, and if they're not able to turn it around after this fight, from after this point, it will continue to go in Renegade's favor more than likely.
Yep, Uni just sitting very sneaky on top of that mid-tree and over the U-shaped wall there. But Trophy's very, very low, and Uni can definitely just go in a 1v1 with him. But of course, fearing that his allies will be around the corner. But what really happened in that team fight was Chingy on that Rhyme basically just overstayed, and they had nothing for them then. It was just down to the Bane Crystal Turret. There were no minions pushing in at all, but they just tried to go in for the siege. Everything was burned, and they were forced to back off, but they're just backing off so and too slowly. And you mentioned something earlier on that, if they go in for those staggered kills, right, just killing one and then push and then another one and kill and another push. But then it just doesn't work very well for Saw and Chingy because they just burn through energy too fast and they just do not have what it takes to sustain to just stay in a team fight for that long, because a staggered kill, basically staggering the kills, forces you to stay in a team fight for a very, very long time.
There's going to be the gauntlet into the Valkyrie, and we see Samuel getting obliterated instantly. Truffy's on that backline trying to kite back, and it looks like he will be able to do just that. He has the breaking point now, so is able to build up a few stacks. Could turn around the fight with an infusion pick up as well, but has lost those breaking points after he went back to buy it. Is just working on the minions, making sure that those minions don't get through to turret, allowing Uni to have a free and clean shot on it, because meaning with SNK tanking up the shots, Uni is open to being shot at himself. And this is another factor we didn't consider when thinking that, well, Saw has a tough time pushing into base. But we do see the kite back from Nebulae once again. Truffy's trying to escape a Rhyme, and he's going to do just that, but the Valkyrie stops him in his tracks. Chingy with these Valkyries just so on point today is now going to try follow through onto the kill for Iron Guy. Looks like he will get it, and no, it's going to be SNK with the last hit there, the blood for blood, surely. And Uni, meanwhile, ripping through the turrets, looking for the crystal, hungry for more. They get it 15 minutes, 35 in without the Kraken, and Renegades pushing through for the first game. As I said, will not be surprised if we see a Saw ban come through.
Yeah, I mean, Saw second phase ban would be optimum now coming into the second draft between Renegades and Nebulae. But, you know, Uni was just definite and persistent on that turret. Wasn't even shooting anybody, wasn't even, you know, trying to attack anyone from the side of Nebulae. Turret is the main focus, and that was what you needed, and secured the game for the side of Renegades.
Yes, and with that, I guess if there's anything else you'd think that Nebulae could have done to really just change their outcome.
Well, if you were to ask me what Renegades could have, or rather the side of Nebulae could have done to change the outcome, maybe a little more aggression against Saw in the early game. They have got a Samuel, but the Samuel didn't quite play very aggressively, just wanted to farm, stayed in the jungle, and that is basically the play style of Iron Bullseye. If you realized, he excels in the late game, Iron Bullseye at least, but not so much as an aggressive early game player.
Yep, and with that, I will get a second opinion of that with Minimiter joining back with us. So thank you for that luxury. We will catch up back with you going into the second match and see whether Nebulae decide to play more aggressively.
Yeah, wow, what a game between these two teams. Nebulae, they tried to play against this Saw, but Renegades playing too strong with the Saw. Not quite as quick as Impunity, so Impunity looking will be happy with the fact that they got the quicker games in. But yeah, Saw just pushing turrets. Who needs a Kraken? They took 15 minutes, but in the end took the win. I think the only problem with these Saw comps is once you get that tier 3 turret, you then are stuck. You can't do anything. But what you always have to do, and what happens often with these Saw comps, is take the tier 3 turret, and then you can't get the win because they'll just back off into the base. So you take the jungle, take the sentry, gold mine, straight back into the lane, and then you go straight into the enemy backs as soon as they spawn. So you force the enemy to either come and fight you outside of their base, or you just starve them of their entire jungle, so they're not going to win the game. But draft is ready for the second game between these two teams. I hope to see a Saw. We all hope to see a Saw, except our question. Without further ado, let's head into the draft.
Now, the thing is, I think the Saw, as I said, I understand, man, I respect that. I just think that it's so the team that gets Saw, the early game advantage available to them. And I have mentioned before, it is hit or miss, but not with teams like Renegades and Impunity. They always just seem to be able to pull it off, and hence why they really start bringing it into the pro scene recently. I think from maybe week 2 onwards, but in this current patch, just Saw so strong as it stands. There's not a Saw initial ban coming out from Nebulae, who are now on the blue side, so it could suggest that they want to pick it up themselves.
Well, they're probably expecting that they're not going to first pick Saw. Renegades are going to not go for that. But to be fair to Renegades, if they want to go for a Lyra Saw combination, they can pick Saw, ban Celeste, because that's a great counter, and then second pick Lyra. No, they can't. It's going to be first pick by Nebula. That makes sense. You don't want to give the enemy Lyra alongside that possible Saw. So instead of being forced to ban it away, if there was a Saw first pick now, they just pick it up themselves. Makes a lot of sense. I don't think Saw should be first picked. I think it makes sense. Just get your, maybe Grace would work well with no matter which carry you want to go. And it still does leave that Saw available. So that's still in the minds of Nebulae, so they might have to ban it, or might consider trying to ban it away.
Yep, and it really is that it's almost similar to the previous matches. I hate to continue bringing them up, but it's just Impunity who played through their matches with Storm. We're seeing a similar fashion of that coming through with Renegades, as you mentioned, not quite as quick of a time, even with the Saw pickup, that now they are looking at the we've seen this before by Renegades. The Churnwalker, when it comes to roamers that work well with Saw, Churnwalker happens to be one of those if you can land your hooks. Because the Torment into Echo is a nightmare, and I think it's very fitting for the Churn Walker himself to pick up an item as such. And when your game pulled back into a spinning machine gun, it's even scarier. But no, they will go for the ban onto the Saw. They might think that, well, I don't see why they had to do that there, to be honest.
Well,
really, they had the next pick in their favor, and it would have been left out to the side of Nebulae if they wanted to ban out Saw or not.
Well, they didn't want to second pick Saw because they can be countered by Celeste. Is so good against Saw because you cannot body block her Heliogenesis. They are going to land. The core collapse stuns him out of his suppressing fire, and Saw is useless. So it makes sense to not want to second pick Saw, but I think they really could have. They could just ban away that Celeste because it is the main counter. Scarf, Samuel, feels like that can be body blocked, so their skill shots are not as bad. But maybe they just wanted to pick Vox for themselves, so we're not going to get to see a second Saw today, at least in this game. But but the Vox makes sense because now what are you going to pick against it? Black Feather was first ban, so that can't be picked to try and counter this Vox. They're going to have to settle on something like a Kestrel, who if gets hit by a chain from Churnwalker, Kestrel is in so much trouble.
Yes, so I do think that it's likely to be that the Kestrel pickup, as we've seen it previously matched up against the Vox, and I think that coming through there, they're actually going to go with the dual pick, but speaking on that Saw ban that came out from the side of Renegades is more so if you know that you want to pick up the Vox, you just didn't want the Saw to be on the enemy team, especially with Elira. That's a big no. So that ban making a lot of sense there. And Vox, as it can be put to the same aggressive use if you get that early advantage. But look at this, the CC left and right coming out from the side of Nebulae going into this match. And it's also got a very good engage to it there as well as disengage.
Yeah, they have nice engage with Lyra, but Lyra synergizes better with poke comps with her heal. It's a much more dive-oriented comp. I think Nebulae haven't got the best synergy in draft, but they have quite a strong composition. Last pick could be a jungle Samuel, would work fine against this Batiste. They're going to go Fortress though. That's not a great dual counter. It's not a great Batiste counter, but it is a really good Lyra counter. So we're going to see a most likely jungle Crystal Fortress. And I hope we see the Aftershock this time as opposed to the Stormcrown first item. If Batiste decides to be aggressive against Fortress before Fortress hits level 6, it could be tough for Renegades.
Crystal Churnwalker. maybe.
Churnwalker has a 50% CP ratio on his A and a 1% on his B and 1% on his ult. We're not going to see
Okay, Minimiter. Crush my dreams as you always do. But I do think you're right about the CP pick. Instead, it wasn't the most expected pick. We were probably looking at something like another poke comp that was working out well. The Vox and Samuel seem to synergize well together, at least from what we've seen, or what we saw on the display from Impunity, of course, on the side of Nebulae when they tried picking up Vox and Samuel. What Luxuria, how he put it was they didn't play aggressive enough, but I felt it was quite hard for them to play aggressive into that Saw comp. So it was a tough position they were put in. But in this case, the Samuel could do pretty well. You don't want to be close to the CC available from the side of Nebulae, but if you do happen to get locked down in it, and because there's so much there, you will get forced out of your Drifting Dark, and that really negates a lot of his kit.
Yeah, Batiste can try and keep someone out of that Drifting Dark with the Ordained, but generally as Samuel, you should be so far away from Batiste that he's not going to get in range to land his Ordained. If you get within range of that, you're dead to duel anyway, so being stuck out with those Drifting Dark is the least of your concerns. I'm very interested to see how Nebulae are going to use this duel, whether we're going to see a duel full glass cannon push lane that we've seen before. Sometimes they just bait the fight, try and get those 3 targets as quickly as possible by Jewel just pushing the lane up. But there are other ways to play. They can try and go for maybe more sustained, maybe a breaking point works quite well on Jewel given how much damage that she has got. But definitely against this Fortress, I think they have to be aggressive early on. Even though Batiste isn't that good at still invading, but he can do really well, especially against this Fortress.
Yeah, and we will have to see. I think a fairly decent draft from both teams, if I must say. I do like the one pick I do like from the side of Renegades is that of the Vox. I think will kind of stand above the rest in terms of scaling.
Yeah, but we are now loading into the house to unfold for the second game between these two teams. We're going to have to find out what they're going to go for. Let us know which team you think is going to take this game. But casting this game, once again, it is yourself, Arquestal, and Luxuria.
Hello, and what a weird draft coming through from Nebulae. I had thought Jewel, when 2.9.1 dropped, I constantly say that Jewel is a relatively strong hero, but I did not see it ever on the fold, and when we did see it, it was in challenges and was played by Oneja, which is a Jewel main, but we haven't quite seen Jewel coming through from Nebulae at all, so it is quite a surprise pick if you were to ask me, but Uni will definitely scale better as compared to Jewel. Jewel has got very high burst, but then that is provided you land those Thunder Strikes. And Uni being such a mobile hero on that box, I think it'll be quite difficult.
Yeah, and you talked about Nebulae previously needing to play more aggressive. I think it's important once again that they do just that. I love the time that we might see Renegades jumping into their hands, especially with a Fortress pickup. SNK going really low to that Jewel, fairly on, almost falling. But back to my point of that being really going in there, they will be able to get the Ordained off and force them into a situation where they're able to get the Jewel very effective into that effective range where they don't want to be turning away from any fights is problem with the Jewel pickup. I said that comp overall has good disengage to it, but the one weakness is also that Jewel with her front plating will be weak in her back if she's turned away from you. And when going up against a Vox who's just going to be able to chase you down quite easily and have a Churnwalker to pull you back in, if Nebulae ever run from a fight, I think it's going to go in favor of Renegades.
It will be, and the chase potential coming through from Renegades is just immense. They have got a Fortress, they have got a Churnwalker that can help with chase. Well, not exactly chase, but just pull you back and just torment you further if you do decide to run away like Trophies now. And even Churnwalker just walking his mech, his mech and that Lyra, that Empress Lyra that we are seeing right now. So, I mean, Fortress. Oh, we are seeing a little skirmish coming through from Iron Guza, and this is something I would like to see. But Chingy now has got a Storm Gun. Will be putting out quite a bit of damage.
Yep, there's going to be the Ordained. Might be able to win it out if he backs off from the fight, but no, there's going to be the rotation coming down from SNK, and they will be able to pick up the first blood for themselves. A bit of over-aggression. I did say I wanted to see Nebulae being aggressive, but maybe a bit too much. And I thought your comment before, I was kind of thinking to myself, I was looking at the jungle fight, and I hear you talking about Churnwalker taking their mech and their Lyra for a walk, and but it clicked with me that the hooks and chains. But I imagine if the Fortress was an enemy team, it'd be very fitting. You could have Fortress, Koshka, and Glaive.
Oh, right, yeah, you can walk two cats, one very big cat, a tiny cat, and a dog. Yeah, sure. I mean, I've done that before, so, and it will be pretty funny to watch. But that first blood going over Chingy, it's not good at all. And although Minimizer said that he will be expecting and he should and he wants to see an aftershock first build on Fortress, but I don't think Chingy would go that path. He will settle probably just for that banner, and then afterwards just immediately work towards that aftershock, or rather hopefully work towards the aftershock to not complete the Storm Crown. You don't quite need a Storm Crown at all. Your first power spike comes from that aftershock build, and I think the comp coming through from RNG, very good comp overall. Although Iron Guild Dive that Ordain can kind of stop the chase from Chingy, but I don't think it is quite enough just yet. But in the lane though,
you do see Uni getting jumped on there, and SNK actually spending a lot of time in that jungle just helping Chingy clear. And I think putting the confidence, knowing that Uni has the advantage in lane with the range, as long as he's not going to get stunned out, he should be fine. And he has the Sonic Zoom available to him. Vox, a very mobile hero just by nature of his kit. So SNK having a lot of faith in Uni being up in lane on his own. It's even going to go back now, and we do see Chingy rotate up, however, as he has cleared through his own jungle. So Uni, not taking any chances, not going to face check that brush where Truffy's was just walking through, and luckily not. But Truffy's looking to steal some farm now, might be able to do so before they actually get caught out. Chingy didn't go down, even though they had the scout trap in that brush.
Yep, and now Chingy already level 6, whereas Batiste is still sitting at level 5, which means Iron Gyudai do not have access to that fearsome shape. But of course, while I'm saying it, Iron Gyudai hit that level 6, and Chingy reached the first power spike when he gets the ultimate on Fortress at least. And the next power spike will come through once Chingy have got access to that have got access to that aftershock, and he is very close. He's just 50 gold away, and there you have it. Chingy will be building towards the first aftershock, but in lane, a lot of pressure coming through from Nebulae, but no damage at all onto this first turret. Although we did hear Minimizer mention that, you know, Jewel generally wants to push this first turret down, and works very similarly to that of Sword, just very concentrated on pushing the first turret. But we are seeing a lot of poke coming through from Uni with a partnership already built up.
Yep, and we saw very similar rotations coming out from both junglers there. Chingy, although giving away half his farm, you mentioned the fact that he was up in that lane because he had the advantage, he had the level 6 first with the attack of the pack available to him, so was looking for a potential fight, and I think that's what Nebulae were doing when you saw the pressure being put down in lane in return. But both these teams just swinging back and forth for now.
Yep, they are swinging back and forth, and SNK doing whatever it takes to just hold this lane till Uni comes back up.
Ooh, Chingy going to jump into the Ordain, gets stunned out, but the wait for it does silence most of the team on side of Nebulae. That's going to bounce to Renegades as they try to jump through the fight, but Fearsome Shade will push them back, and they're not going to get anything out of this one. And SNK, both roamers for both teams actually going fairly low themselves. It does open up a window of opportunity for Renegades to push this minion wave all the way up, but they need to be careful of the returning members from the side of Nebulae. There's going to be the trespass onto Iron Gyudai, but Batiste manages to pick up the first kill. It isn't the first blood, but it will be a trade out, and now we see that Uni just trying to continue the poke. Chingy going around, and he will get onto that of Lyra picking up a kill, but another trade, and it's, as I said, these teams just swinging back and forth is the best way to put it.
Yep, they are swinging back and forth, but the issue right now is that although I say Vox generally would scale better, but we know that trophies on that Jewel, or Jewel in general, will be able to
Jewel going in with some massive damage off the Thunder Strikes. Did not land the Rocket Leap, but will be landing the Thunder Strike for the kill. Iron Gyudai there as well, just to make sure they would secure that. And Uni getting a bit cheeky, wanting to go for that mid-tree of Iron Gyudai's jungle, gets caught out and punished for it. And you were just talking about Uni, although being that hero who should scale up well, is getting, I guess, counted, but Truffy's just putting up a good fight on the Jewel, out-damaging them right now.
Yep, like I mentioned earlier on, Jewel generally wants to build very hard weapon power. Jewel is not about ticking damage. He wants to land powerful big red numbers with those Thunder Strike, and with the pairs coming through on Thunder Strike, I'm not surprised, as Truffy's is going for the double Tyrant's Monaco, or in fact triple Tyrant's Monaco, just to put out extra damage overall. And SNK at this point really cannot quite absorb any form of damage coming through.
Yep, and not many of the team on the side of Renegades can absorb much damage, as they all are quite squishy at this moment. And with that Sorrow Blade into the initial Tyrants coming out from Truffy's on the Jewel, it's just so much burst instantly, and they have no form of healing and sustain, such as that of Nebulae's Lyra with Truffless on the Lyra. There's going to be Ordained. Uni forced to use his block to get out there, did not want to take any more damage than he needed to.
Yep, although SNK riding on a churn train, but it's just not performing.
And SNK using a great trespass to keep enemy away. Might even pick up a kill onto Truffy's, who got caught out under turret. Took a few too many hits there. That's just the big red burn to clear lane and put down some extra damage. But look at this, Chingy full health, jumping into the fight, might give Renegades the advantage they need, but SNK, you said before, cannot absorb the damage he needs to, and even with Futility of Life, his team's just not able to put out the, oh no, Rocket Leap onto SNK, the bait perhaps, because of the fountain being popped on Renegades, and the fight could be turned around in their favor as Attack on the Pack use. They get rid of the Wolves in an instance, and now Renegades have lost their chance to turn a fire around, but they will save their turret for now, so perhaps that's all they are going for and just aiming for that mid to late game, as these teams still even, I was going to say fairly even, but they are straight even across the board.
Yep, and what Chan Walker's kit does is the more hooks you have, and you know, the more people or more players hook to you, you get more healing. But it's just so futile now because it is but it's because because it's futile now because of the amount of buzz coming through and the sustain as well from trophies, Truffless on that Lyra is just so difficult to out sustain a Lyra in this early game. So you know, the side of RNG really have to rethink the strategy. They thought, or rather, you know, with the point shift, with the Futility of Life on SNK EA, they think they can out sustain the amount of burst coming through. But the longer IMU's die stays in a team fight, the more empowered Bad Mojos he lands, you know, the stronger he gets. So it's just so difficult.
Yep, and we will see a bit of an engage here coming out from the side of Renegades, but Nebulae short to fight back. Vespa Ordained keeping SNK in the fight, and Crucible being forced out. SNK going very low. He doesn't have the chains on just yet. You can see them going on now, and he gets a bit of that health back, but there's also the Fountain still in his back pocket to save his team, which is going to be pop right now. And when we look over to the side of Nebulae, they've already used that Fountain. Here could be the chance for Renegades to really push a fire in their favor, but everyone's so very low. Batiste will be the first to fall, and Uni trying to chase through does have that breaking point now. And as I said, Renegades didn't want to take the fight before, but now seem to be in a bit more control here as we see them push onto this turret. Chingy diving in deep, needs to be careful of a final strike, so it looks like SNK will go down. Uni gets the turret and is still trying to go for something else, but no, he will fall to that of Jewel more than likely. The block coming out, just prolonging his life and prolonging his inescapable death. And we do see Nebulae could get the turnaround turret just off the back of that, keeping them even, just one kill under, however.
Yep, I mean, they can easily get this unless, of course, Chingy have got an answer, but a tier 1 turret, 2k HP, will not last long once your enemies get a hold on it. And, you know, it's rather even, like you mentioned, throughout. There is not much at all both teams can do. Trophies, you know, having that engage and disengage option on those Rocket Leap, and SNK may be caught out right now.
Yep, and we do see SNK going low, and his team are not nearby. He's not going to get Futility of Life, but he will use the Trespass, and the big red button almost picking him up, but Lyra going to come with the Arcane Passage into right forward to secure that kill. Uni now getting caught out of position because of it, and Chingy could be as well. They managed to pick up the Batiste, but I don't think they'll get much more than that, as Joe just unbeatable at this stage, 5-0, and they will go for the gold miner, and starting to push that gold lead in Nebulae's favor. So even though it looked like Renegades had taken that first objective, could be putting things back into control, I think SNK getting caught out there really fell through for the side of Renegades having a clean game, and really providing Nebulae the chance they need to even take the lead.
Alright, so unpopular opinion coming through. Looking back at draft, we see a Lyra, we see a Batiste. You know, you think the last option available would be that of Taka. But I think Taka worked very, very well in this particular team comp going up against Nebulae. Only reason Taka at Dretsu gets behind Trophies, Kaitan, you know, from the back, so deals a lot of damage onto Trophies. Whereas Fortress, when you jump with the truth of the tooth, you jump frontward. So Trophies have got a heavy plating, you know, it would be impossible for you to do, you know, much damage onto this Jewel at all, and thus Jewel just able to survive for so long. And the sustain coming out from this Lyra as well is not quite helping the cause, but double hook and chain.
Yep, and there's going to be the rocket leap in, does not secure the kill, but SNK is so very low, manages to get the trespass off, and it's enough for Chingy to get a window of opportunity to take the kill, and it looks like it will be enough for them to take the team fight as Chingy picking up a double kill for himself. Uni coming down there just to help out, but look at this, Chingy could even get the triple for himself. It might be a bit too delayed, and no, Truffless, I should say, able to escape that one on the Lyra, getting out there with the Imperial Sigil. But right now the Kraken is on the fold and available for Renegades to go with no contest from the enemy team, only the Lyra, and I don't think she'll be able to do it. No Arcane Passage, only Imperial Sigil. It would come down to very good timing and needing to be there right now. No, it was close. It was close, but definitely odds not in their favor.
It was very, very close. I was expecting a steal coming through. If it was a steal, it will look very, very good for the side of Nebulae. They will just be able to push it down, push down the lane, push through, crack open the base of RNG. But it definitely did stop Chingy's ace buff, thus forcing Chingy to just back off. But Entati, he will be able to just rendezvous or just meet up with his team and try pushing down this turret. And let us just be honest, the side of RNG, they do not have the best turret pushing comp right now.
No, they do not, but as long as Uni's able to get the stacks up out the fight, as soon as this turret falls, he should be able to maybe pick up a kill or two if Nebulae decide to be over-aggressive, and if SNK can land the hooks, he needs to get the trespass into the torment off. There's going to be Big Red Bun just clearing out the wave more or less for the side of Nebulae, and they will get the Kraken now. Whether the side of Nebulae decide to engage, there's going to be the engage coming out from the Lyra with the Arcane Passage, and we're going on to Churnwalker initially. Can he land the trespass before he dies is the question. He's bringing his life to the max. Make sure he gets that last hook on Jewel before using it, and gets all he needs out of it as they turn the fire around once again. And just playing off the back, you can see Renegades really have been practicing at Churnwalker, as I expected initially to be played alongside a Saw. They go, no, we can play this alongside whatever we want, as they pick up the ace for themselves. And SNK so patient there, just holding on to his dear life, not using the trespass, and just waiting for the right opportunity to get the fullest out of it, making sure that they're able to stun the Jewel. Because you mentioned before, Jewel's weakness is the fact you can't get behind her, and the power is the fact that she has the heavy plating to make her so much better in those 1v1 and on-fight engagement duels, or duels. Oh, duels and duels. A bit too confusing for me there, but in the end, they pulled through once again. The same situation that they did to turn that fight around in the jungle prior to Kraken.
Yep, I must say that was a very, very good team fight, you know, for the side of RNG, and they are definitely coming online. The Fortress as well starting to tank up at this point, and so Jewel will not be doing as much damage, I want to say, but of course it will be audacity to actually quite say that. I mean, Jewel still have good damage, but it's just down to SNK. That trespass, those torments coming through, it's definitely tormenting the entirety of Nebulae at this point in time. Truffy's only job, really, Bright Bulwark, try to stop the trespass from coming through. If not, then block it out. Not the easiest stun to block out because it's not direct, and you don't quite know when it's gonna land, except for the the yellow things, the yellow Churnwalker you see around you. That is quite the telltale sign, but it's only for like less than half a second before the stuns actually lands.
Yep, and for now we do see SNK very low at the start of this fight, and not really in any situation to engage on a fight, but as we said, if he gets that opportunity to get those hooks off, he will go in off the back of that. There's going to be Big Red Bun coming through from Nebulae's side. Obviously Truffy's on that Jewel, and Stein, speaking of Truffy's, it seems like they're starting to fall off. They're not having the impact they need because they're not able to get the damage off and get in range now that Uni and Chingy just able to kind of dance around them at this point. But we will have to see what they can do as they continue to push the lane minions. At least Truffy's able to do that job, and kind of similar to what Minimaya said of and what you brought up earlier of the dual pickup need to be very objective focused a lot of the time, because they have that potential, and once again a triple stun off the trespass, but there's going to be the fearsome shade off the back of it. So very good reactions from the side of Nebulae, and it looks like Renegade's key card is gone, and they will have to try a different strategy as Nebulae continue to push into this tier 2 turret.
Yeah, the tier 2 turret will definitely go down. 400, 600 damage on that turret. Definitely do not look good for the side of RNG. This duel definitely giving the side of RNG tons of problem. And I know I went a bit forte there, and that is because I thought Uni would spot out that pot home. But what RNG can do at this point, just make sure all of their ultimates are online, have SNK land those hooks, well, duh, but you know, you really need to just team up with Uni as well. We saw a very good trespass coming through earlier on from SNK, but there was no follow-up whatsoever because his team, RNG, was just very low, too low to just execute anything for their side, for their team comp at least. And of course, Uni plays a very big part. Wait for it, silencing out the Crucible even for less than a second will definitely help land those trespass. And if you can get trophies to just turn around, to try to run away, it is your trump card. You can just go for the team fight. Okay, things are happening, RNG, and obviously it will be
my bad. I accidentally muted myself thinking I was already muted, but there's going to be the rest of the fight as the triple kill picked up by that Fortress, who we thought was a bit of a surprise pick to really go Fortress, but you can see this Fortress, instead of focusing as much on defense, has gone more for the damage build that we like to see in Fortress of the current meta.
Yep, and Fortress, although very shaky, very weak in the early game, definitely coming through once, you know, Fortress get, you know, several tank items, and those wolves helping take turrets, so why not? And the second game will go over to the side of RNG, although they look really shaky at the start, but they definitely did pull through with that annoying trespass that Trophy is just, Truffless, just unable to block out at all.
It's a bit of a pun I hint coming on with pulling through there, but nevertheless, that Churnwalker, a very good pickup, and we did see, rather than the Torment being put to good use this time, even though